Hey there, Coastin With Quayz fans. Official Coastin With Quayz merch is available now through Redbubble. Click the link in the description to get your merch today. Every purchase helps to support the channel, which means more coaster content. And now, on with the video. Hi everyone, welcome to another coaster ranking by Coastin With Quayz. I am Mark, aka Quayz, and today I will be ranking my top 10 new coaster credits of 2024. Although this list does contain a coaster that opened during the 2024 season, not all of the coasters are new. They were just new to me. 2024 was a packed coaster season for me, as it was the year that I started this channel. I was able to visit 10 parks and get about 40 new coaster credits. There were a few coasters that did not make the list, but that does not mean that they were bad rides. Because of this, I would like to give a couple of honorable mentions. First, I have to give some props to Grizzly at King's Dominion. I am a sucker for wooden roller coasters. If they are taken care of, they can be fantastic rides, and Grizzly is a great example of this. King's Dominion recently retracked much of the ride, and it is riding smooth as ever. It features a great figure 8 layout, and it is typically a walk-on. If you visit King's Dominion, don't miss this ride. And it is easy to miss because you have to go through the Grizzly Gulch gift shop to make it to the queue. My second honorable mention is Kingda Ka. I have been to Great Adventure many times since Kingda Ka opened. Until 2024, it was never a priority for me to get on it because I had already been on Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point a bunch. Since Kingda Ka typically had 2 to 3 hour waits, I would always skip it. Well, I'm glad that I finally got some rides on Ka in 2024 because it was announced that it would be permanently closing at the end of the 2024 season. With this ride closing and Top Thrill Dragster being reinvented into Top Thrill 2, I am happy that I was able to experience the only 2 hydraulic launching strata coasters in existence. These experiences won't exist in the future, and the acceleration experienced on them is truly unparalleled. For that reason, Kingda Ka definitely deserves some props, but it still wasn't enough to make it into my top 10 of 2024. With that, let's jump right into the ranking. At the bottom of the list, at the number 10 spot, we have Apollo's Chariot at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. This is the original B&M Hypercoaster, and you can tell that it is older and not as good as the newer iterations, but it is still a super fun ride. The way that it interacts with the river at Busch Gardens is great, and the turnaround at the halfway point is fun and forceful. It is a must-ride when visiting the park. Coming in at number 9 and also at Busch Gardens Williamsburg is the B&M Invert Alpengeist. This is a fantastic B&M invert. Typically, I'm a bigger fan of the tighter inverts as they are super forceful. Although the drop end elements on Alpengeist are a little larger and more spread out, they are still super forceful. The huge spiraling drop is amazing, standing at 195 feet. My favorite moment of the ride is the absolutely crazy Cobra Roll. This moment is fast, forceful, and super intense. Once you hit the mid-course break, the ride definitely slows down and is not nearly as interesting. Because of this, it loses a couple of points in my book. If the second half was as good as the first, I think this ride would rank even higher on my top 10 list for 2024. At the number 8 spot for 2024, we travel to Bristol, Connecticut for Lake Compounce's Boulder Dash. This was a truly bucket list coaster for me. For years, I've been wanting to visit Lake Compounce to ride this mountain coaster. The way that this ride hugs the mountain is fantastic. You never quite know what will happen as you crest each hill, and it is a very long ride. Because a large amount of the track has been replaced with GCI's steel Titan track, many rough areas are now buttery smooth. I would love to see more Titan track on the ride in the future. The ride is relentless and has some great moments, including the first drop down the side of the mountain and the triple up towards the end of the ride. Boulder Dash is definitely the crown jewel at Lake Compounce. Falling in at number 7, we travel to Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee for Big Bear Mountain. This modern Vekoma family thrill coaster is a fantastic ride. It features 3 launches and a long course of fun twists and turns. The airtime and the transitions are not forceful, but they're not supposed to be. Even though that is the case, the ride is still a lot of fun. Big Bear Mountain constantly moves you in different directions, launches you forward, and flies through obstacles. It is a truly perfect launch coaster for riders who may be experiencing their first full-size launching roller coaster. Because it features no inversions, it will not be too intimidating for younger riders. In fact, this ride is so fun that I think it'll inspire riders to take the next step onto the more thrilling rides. Vekoma is doing a fantastic job with their new coasters, and I cannot wait to see more of them in the future. Rounding out the bottom 5 on the list is Iron Menace at spot number 6. This B&M dive coaster at Dorney Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania is the only coaster on the list that was brand new for 2024. This is Dorney's first brand new coaster since Hydra the Revenge, which was built in 2005. Dorney Park deserved a new coaster that was not a hand-me-down, and Iron Menace was the perfect addition to the park. At 160 feet, Iron Menace is not the tallest dive coaster out there, but it is a great ride. It features 4 inversions, one of which is a first for a dive coaster, the slanted loop. Since Iron Menace does not feature a mid-course break or a second diving drop, it has a non-stop course with great pacing. Because it goes from one element to the next, it does feel a little short, but to be honest, I feel like all dive coasters suffer from that same downfall. The jarring bump at the very end of the ride is also a little disappointing. There's a part of me that wonders if Dorney Park will work with B&M to retrack this portion as a fix, but only time will tell. On a positive, Iron Menace looks absolutely fabulous in the area of the park which it resides. It is truly a spectacle to watch. I cannot wait to ride it again in 2025 and beyond. Thank you, Dorney Park and Cedar Fair / Six Flags for giving Dorney Park a coaster that it deserves. Moving into the top 5, my next coaster on the list is Thunderhead, another coaster at Dollywood. This GCI wooden coaster is amazing. In fact, it could be argued that it is the best coaster in the park. Its twister layout is fast and relentless. The ride has been taken care of, so it is also really smooth for a wooden coaster. I was only able to get one ride on Thunderhead during my visit to Dollywood, but it was one ride that I won't forget. I especially loved all the twists and turns towards the end of the ride. Typically, by the last third of a coaster, speed and intensity is lost, but not on Thunderhead. I cannot wait to get back to Dollywood to ride it again in the future. The next 4 coasters are some of the best that I've ever ridden, and number 4 goes to Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. This ride is an absolute airtime machine. By the time that you hit the final break, you feel like you've done an ab workout because of how much you're thrown in and out of your seat. The barrel down drop is an amazing way to get the ride started, and from there it is non-stop. After a fast overbank turn, you enter 3 back-to-back ejector airtime hills. These hills are nuts. From there, all the airtime consists of small hills, but it is an absolute blast. I was able to ride this coaster a bunch in 2024, and it never gets old. The airtime is balanced by the 3 floaty inversions, giving you just enough of a break from the relentless airtime. Twisted Timbers is a great example of how Rocky Mountain construction can take old, rough coasters and make them into masterpieces. Another fantastic Rocky Mountain construction coaster is at number 3 with Lightning Rod, the 3rd coaster on this list from Dollywood. Differing from Twisted Timbers, Lightning Rod is a ground-up coaster instead of being an old wooden coaster that is reimagined. Lightning Rod is also a very different ride from Twisted Timbers, even though both are by RMC. Lightning Rod features a lot more forceful positive Gs. The positive Gs after the first large wave turn are so forceful, it may even rip your pants in half. I'll let you watch my Dollywood vlog to get the full story on that. This ride features a lot of larger elements instead of smaller, quick elements, but the quad down towards the end of the ride fills that void. Lightning Rod is paced perfectly and there are no lulls. It's a fast ride from beginning to end, even without the launching lift hill, which was removed for the 2024 season. It is the best coaster at Dollywood and is a top-tier coaster in general. And now the top 2. The number 2 spot belongs to Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. This ride was something special. It is so well balanced. The inversions are floaty, the launches are powerful, the airtime pops are great, and that moment flying up the vertical spike is fantastic. My favorite moment on the ride is the multi-launching section in the middle. There's a small ejector airtime hill in the middle of the launches that throws you out of your seat each of the 3 times that you fly over it. It is somewhat unexpected and it is definitely unforgettable. This is easily the best coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. It features the perfect level of intensity versus enjoyment factor. Sometimes coasters are amazing, but they're so intense that 1 or 2 rides is all that I can handle. Pantheon is balanced so well that it can easily be marathoned as long as there's not a massive line in the queue. I would love to see more of these multi-launching Intamin coasters pop up around the US in the future. We have made it to the #1 spot on the list, and that spot belongs to none other than Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. Also created by Intamin, this Giga Coaster is the epitome of insane intensity on a roller coaster. Many would argue that this is one of, if not the most intense roller coasters in the entire world. It is definitely the most intense roller coaster that I have ever ridden, and I love every second of this ride. It has got an incredible first drop at 300 feet. The low to the ground turn after the drop causes me to gray out and blurs my vision every time I ride. And the quick, whippy transitions provide forceful laterals and airtime. The only moment to catch your breath on the ride is the small airtime hill towards the end of the ride. The fact that this ride does not often feature long lines is a huge plus as well, because you can marathon it like crazy. That is, of course, if your body can handle it. I'm excited to see the ride receive a fresh coat of paint and a retheme with the new name of Pantheon in 2025, but this ride will always be known as I-305 to me. It is my #2 coaster of all time, and it deserves that recognition. There is my full list of my favorite 10 coaster credits of 2024. Let me know in the comments how you feel about some of these coasters, and let me know which coasters you loved in 2024 that were not on my list. I am always trying to get new coaster credits each year, and I already have plans to add more to my list in 2025. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe to stay up to date with everything here at Coastin With Quayz. We have a lot to look forward to in 2025, but until next time, keep on coasting.